Woo! Good morning. Yeah. Straight off the hop. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Will be very interesting to see where this ends up. We are flying. To the point where this could be a higher time frame movement. We should see some resistance right here at 20s. Potentially pulling back in sub 700, but we'll see. We'll see, we'll see, we'll see. Let's get this. I did not. I will watch and wait and watch and wait. There we go. That's better. All right. This might have the legs to go all the way up and then take some liquidity in here at the low 800s. We're going to find out really, really quickly. Not going to lie, this is definitely surprising. But we'll find out. ES just took London finally. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It did sweep and rocket. Man, did it ever. Made this high, made that one, right? So we dealt with both weak lows. So we have no reason really to come all the way through here at all. That doesn't mean we can't get some sort of manipulation and go, but that'll be quite nasty if it does. No trades for me so far. If it flips, you might consider something back up, but we'll see. I do think this is a little overextended, but demands a little bit of respect. Let's put it that way. We're getting some violent movements off the hop as well. There's your flip. Now, what's interesting to me is if it comes back into the range at all. This was a major area of interest just below 700. Right? You've got your first 5 minutes. So, in reality, we could be looking at much, much higher if this area holds here. Even with the 1 minute flip, again, we need to know if it's actually going to confirm on the 5 minute or not. And we'll see. Yeah, no kidding. Got 12. That's tough. 12 points is tough. This is this better drop for shorts fairly quickly here, or I think that we're going to have a strong rally. Major area of interest here, that imbalance. If it respects, then it sends us lower. Again, pretty hard to confirm the flip on the 5. So people are holding on to their ass, hoping that this is accumulation manipulation, and then we're going to drop. Otherwise, we go sky high. A monster move, you can understand passing on the short. This is the area where it's going to fail if it's going to. I'm long for 702. I want to see if this imbalance respects or not. And it looks like it might do just that. But we'll see. 20 seconds. You're looking at this area here. I'm not going to short it just because I do think that this is perfectly valid to be looking at that. Right? It just didn't quite go high enough. I think that that will probably run this high if our 5 and our 15 and everything else is going to do anything, right? And I think people will short this from your ICT models and whatnot, and they might get paid, but it's not something I'm interested in with this violence. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I'm gonna pass on it personally. And I understand entirely if you guys like. I mean, ES is still within London's range. NQ is overextended, but it can stay irrational a lot longer. And I think that this area here, if it doesn't give us a major movement down, then we go flying up here, right? And we talked about it yesterday as well. Like, I think 820s are my final target to the upside. Your 4 hour earlier this week, what does this look like? Spike, lethargic, flips, trades back in, gone. Right? So I do think that this area here for sure is our target. It might be kicking and screaming along the way. But we shall see. We shall see. People are pretty happy with that so far. Morning, Matthias. Morning, Hamza. Morning, Tigo. Big Frank. Matt. 2 ticks away from my stop. I think closure above this and we just go. Right? And you could argue inducement, short, sweep it out, and then run, but you're kind of disregarding this and you're only looking at the flip. You're not looking at the 5. You're not looking at pretty much anything else. Violent and violent and violent. So we flipped and then we flipped back, didn't we? This is the area of interest. If it gets held on this stab down, that would be something I'd like to see. Obviously, it is not. So you could argue one way or the other, but you've got no valid high, which is a problem. So we flipped and then we flipped, but you've got, sorry, a valid high, you haven't got a valid low in this movement. Dangerous. So we'll see if we end up running this out. If we trade back in, I'm sitting on my hands personally right now. I do think we're inside of a range, however. Oh. Oh. Okay. Now what? Do we drop down to the 60s? Looks like we are. Okay. Maybe even back to the initial. Oh, that's a rough sell. Still long from 70.25, but not liking that. We'll see how if this recovers. We may very well just have to scoop that low out. Hold, lads. But this is violent, so I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up taking me out. Wouldn't be surprised, which is fine. I've made peace with it if it does, but this is the area of interest that I want to be in. And my target would be high of day. So we'll see. She's getting all kinds of antsy, isn't she? She's going one way, she's going the other way. If we can't break through 700 right now, I will go flat. She's having a really hard time, which leads me to believe we might not just be ready yet. And it looks like it's going to take me out break even if this sweep doesn't finalize and run. And break even it is. And we'll see. Nasty business. Nasty business. Going all the way back down, probably to origin in the 40s. Assuming this doesn't hold here. Which it could. Again, looking to target the high. But Garley respected it quite nicely. It very well could have been manipulation higher, and then we could trade straight through. There goes that low. Happy I got taken out. Right, as I don't want to be risk on just yet unless this has major failure. And yeah, I mean, could have shorted above. You know, I mentioned 70.20 or 720 as being key area of interest. So we'll wait and see. We're now in that initial consolidation. Violently pushing through. There it goes. There it goes. Oh! We could be heading even lower to the 50s. Like 550. Oof. Okay, now what? Nothing got ran out. Cool. We're determining what goes on here from the 15. Also cool. Not disregarding the violent second distribution higher. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I think that any movement down will fade away. I think that comes from this area here, not just because it's London lows, but I think that it was a major area of interest higher. So we'll look to see if we respect and then would look long in the 50s to then run us back up. We very well could end up being in a range. I think that the shorts from higher, they definitely had credibility to it. From that 720 area. I didn't take it as I was looking for a little bit higher. I thought that we were going to run it out, and I would have looked to take a short at 750. So I didn't end up getting involved there, but we'll see. This right now could stab back up. And you'd be looking at like 640 or so for a target, and then stretch target would be like back up into this 666 area. But I think that terminus would be quite a bit lower. Like looking at like 582, 582-ish. I think this might be inducement. So like looking like something in like here. Little conflicted, but we'll see. This is violent either way. So I was happy with my 70 long. Probably should have taken it off a little bit sooner, but I thought we would run everybody out before we went higher. Or before we went lower. Silly me. Violent 5. Don't we have red folder today? I think we have red folder today, don't we? Oh, we did have at 8:30 already. Okay, good. No entry for the Freedom model, no. No. No, you would have needed a week high for the Freedom model. A lot of interest at 610 here, but not really interested. Right, I think you've got a violent 5. You might get a bit of a rally before 10 a.m. Your concern is if the 15 can close above 30 or not. I do think we've got lower to go, so if we do get retracement, then you've got potential shorts coming out of like 640. Ideally 660, 670, where it really sent us down in the first place, but I think that's unlikely. I think that we continue down to 580, 550, and then potentially even London lows. So sitting on my hands. And I think a major thing as well was ES was having a really difficult time at London highs, which I should have put a little bit more emphasis on, but I think this is accumulating a lot of longs in, and they're going to get wrecked, personally, but no, I'm just sitting on my hands currently. So wait for a drop. Maybe we get some sort of SNDR ready for the flip here, and then we take a low, and it'll end up respecting that 550 area that I liked. There we go. So I want a bullish candle here. Bullish candle here, and then we'll be a little bit more eager for some sort of move here to then run up. And if this area doesn't hold and we continue on, then I think we're really going lower, and we're looking not only at Asia lows, but we're looking at like really stabbing down into all this fun stuff from NVIDIA earnings. And we could even take that low at 430. We shall see. We shall see. We shall see. Still sitting on my hands. I do think we've got lower. So looking to see how well we hold London's low, if we hold London's low, and yeah, we'll see. It's gonna be a short stream this morning as I'm speaking at an event. We'll do our ETF giveaway tomorrow as well. Those kind folks. Morning, member. Haven't shorted. Very, very strongly bearish, of course. New 10 a.m. candles going to be coming in hot here in a minute. Your 15 will close underneath that. So you may very well get a stab up into like 640, in which case I will be looking short. If. Although that would likely trade a little bit higher than 640. It'll probably go up like into the 650s. If it hands that to us, then I will say thank you very much. Otherwise, looking lower to get a little bit long. Get rid of some of this doodles. All right, it's got to deal with this area first. And that flip would then send you up. Cool. You'll notice that this 5-minute high is not valid. We're actually looking at this one, which would be possible. But not looking long into the short. We'll just look to short back down if possible. This is having a really difficult time right now, but we'll see at the turn of the hour. And the reason I would even consider it is like I like the area that we're in terms of like this consolidation here to the right. But no bueno for me. I think we trade up to 650-ish. But again, we would have to close above this in order to facilitate that. Or at least fail to flip lower. If we fail here, then we're just gone. $18 seconds. What are the chances that that they just close it literally at that level? Ooh. Okay, now what? Now what? It's a 5-minute imbalance. I'm not looking long again. I don't care if this does run up to here or even beyond or whatever goes on. I don't think I think this is more of a retracement given the 15 closing underneath and everything. I'm looking to get short. See what happens in the 650s. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. And that's an if, right? Like we're looking, you got this open, but it very well could just stab into this and fail. Right? I'm looking to at least get up to 640 and see what goes on there. Right? But if we do end up having major failure here, then that's going to be rough. I'm not involved yet, but this looks like it's starting to get a little bit anxious. Yup. Here it goes. We'll see what goes on. Eager. You can tell from the velocity of the move as well. It's got to flip, right? That's got to flip. That open was 99. That traded down to 98.50 actually, right? So that like double bottomed here. It very well could end up running a little bit higher, and this just being the retracement back in. I think if that would have flipped, then you're looking at the trade back in to go. That was a violent candle, and now you see what goes on. Finally at the 15-minute open. Ooh. I have about a 20-point stop here. I'm short from 54. And we'll see what ends up happening. But I would expect to trade at least back down to the low 600s if this is going to fail here and then beyond, perhaps. That's a big if. Just got to fail here, of course. Having some difficulty, okay. Okay, and I'm flat on that. Okay. And we watch and wait to see if this ends up flipping, then I will re-enter short. Went a little bit higher than I anticipated. I did want lower from this push. We did get our flip, so very, very simple flip to trade back in. I will be looking lower. I think that this area might end up respecting. Depends entirely on what goes on with this movement here, but that did hit my stop, so I'm sitting on my hands right now, and we'll wait and see. Chop City in here in the 50s and low 60s. Not really wild that didn't flip. This might just continue higher, but we'll see. Sitting on my hands. Not exactly the bearish response that was warranted. So we'll see. Again, not really heavily convinced. I love a lot about the long side. Cool. But that 15-minute closure, sure, we're in an hourly wick, right, if we zoom out far enough. But I think we're going to determine what ends up happening in here. And this is just messing around in the middle of the range. Do I think it's going to flip down? Morning, Rangati, by the way. Morning, Solo. Do I think it's going to flip down? Yeah, I think that we've got lower to go. Yes, I do. I think that this didn't quite hit an area. This is all going to be inducement, and then we're going to run it out. But I also didn't think we went, well, that's not true. I thought that 720 area was a key area of interest from the higher time frame. And that respected quite nicely. Right? So I think it's getting people in on both sides, and then it's going to run them out. Whether that runs this a little bit higher and then drops. We don't really have, we literally have nothing on the 5-minute time frame, which is why I'm having a lot of difficulty. Right. I thought that 650s were an area that I like to short, and it actually just blasted through. And then I think I took it a little bit too front side. Would I still be involved if I took it in the 60s? It didn't flip here, which I thought was, which I do think is concerning. At least to take this high and then maybe even stab a little bit more into like this consolidation here, but. We're messing around in the middle of a range right now, still sitting on my hands. But I do think long's a risk on here unless it really wants to move. New 15-minute candle. All gross. Everywhere you look, all gross. So like if this area doesn't stop here, then I think we actually continue higher to the back up to the 90s. This area here, you're getting your sort of imbalance, of course, on your 5, but we're gonna find out what goes on. Gonna find out what goes on. I'm getting some dangerous PA to come into here for sure. And the 15 kind of swung from one side to the other too. So it'll be really interesting for me to see what ends up going on here. right? If they're actually just scaling in here and it's going to run up, take this high at 93 and then drop, versus if it wants to deal with something here. That's valid too. I'd be a little surprised if this doesn't run this before taking any of these lows. Oh, speaking of, okay, surprised it is. We'll see what ends up happening with this order block at 32s. If. Moment of truth if we rally or not. Technically a flip. Right inside of our area of interest, but going to be very interesting to see where this goes. Strong bearish candle. Okay, now we determine what goes on here. Flipping back would be very, very dangerous. But we'll see. I would be a little bit surprised if we didn't trade back up to the 60s or so, but this is going to be very interesting to see what happens here. Closure above this, we fly. Otherwise, like that's a very strong outside bar on the 5, but we didn't trigger it yet. You see just how strong the bearish movement is if we trade up to the 90s or not, or if we hold this area and then just drop. Having a lot of difficulty rallying so far. Moment of truth now, or do we drop? Speaking of which, do we get 70s and then 90s, or does it just die from here? Who is calling me right now? 7:20 in the morning. So we flip back, right? Should at least take that 5-minute high. This is very, very unclear to me. I do think we trade higher into the 90s and we take this high here at 92.75. But that is not a beautiful candle that I would that I was really interested in. But I thought that stabbing back down after that move, you've got your flip, right? If we flip back, then we're looking at this here, determine what goes on. And she's got to go now if she's gonna. Otherwise, this was just pulling back into this SNDR, and I that to me is very confusing. Like, we didn't stab down low enough, right? But we traded up to that open at 65. You can understand if this flies from here. You can understand if it drops. We're really inside the midpoint of a range, trying to figure out heads or tails. All right, and this is very unclear in terms of validating that 5-minute low, too. This closed inside of this, not exactly ideal. So I can completely understand if people are looking at this for longs in here. We did get our 1-minute flip. That's a 5-minute engulfing candle, but we haven't triggered it. Personally, gun to my head, I would be long, but not a lot that I like about this so far. Right? Would have liked a little bit lower in the 20s. Didn't get that. Here we are. Sitting on my hands. And this move was violent too. Like, that was a pretty rough candle. That was straight up. And yet it's achieved nothing. So we'll see if sweeping it out, it yields anything, or if we just drop. Which it looks like we are. And again, I don't really like that 5. I don't like the location that we're in, and I don't like the 5. Not a lot that I like at all, actually. There goes the drop. We're chopping around inside of this. This huge range here. We got a little overextended, we came immediately back into it. We got a little overextended, immediately back into it. Tried breaking the other side, came back into it. So we have to see if we actually get some expansion to risk off of. And you could argue that as soon as it dropped here, that this was the trade back in to leave. And I think you'd be correct as well, facilitating that flip. I just didn't like how nothing got swept here on our intermediates. I also don't like that this didn't trade up high enough for me. And you could argue it did trade into this, but that wasn't really what I was looking for. So we'll see, we'll see, we'll see, we'll see, we'll see. I've got another half an hour before I have to get ready for my presentation, so we'll see if we can grab some sort of a decent trade out of this. I'm right on the day so far from too over-eager on that short, too much volatility. Right, so shorted this kind of front side in here in the 50s. This is a little too lethargic for my liking, but I think that's actually a pretty interesting place to look at that there. Very strong movement to the upside. A little bit unclear with the 5, which I don't really like. 15s, you know, you got your valid high, inside. Well, depends on what goes on here in 28 seconds, but that looks like it's going to be an inside candle. $10.30. Now what? I think we sweep this out into maybe into here. This is lethargic, and then that would probably rally. I still think I'm looking at the 90s. Just waiting for this downward movement to finalize. Haven't finished it yet. Still looking to run this out if we do, which would be beautiful. if this was nasty that we came all the way back in and then left and didn't take anything. They're playing with their food here. And it very well could just blast, in which case that would be very annoying, as I'm not involved. But we'll see. Internal flip, cool. Maybe. I think it's catching shorts a little off guard, and you're going to get a huge lift to the 60s. Or sorry, 90s. Right? Very violent, good. Wanted it, was waiting, didn't grab it. Gross delivery of this. Nothing I could risk off of or even look at for price action. Right? Was kind of looking at this failing underneath this low. Cool, but that's also not valid as it didn't generate anything on this high. Stabbing up. Man. And the response is violent. So far, anyway. Oof. Was that the final breath, or do we actually run to the 90s now? Going to be very interesting to see if this validates or not. If it doesn't, then I think we fly. Inside of a range, yes. Both sides having trouble as we struggle here. This will be really interesting. The day after NVIDIA, chopping around both sides. I still like the 90s. ES is still chopping around inside of its range, but this has got to push from here, otherwise it's going to drop. A bear bar, that's not good. But we'll see. Inside candle. It's got to at least take that high for it to run, or it's just going to drop. I am long from the order block. But I'm break even if it comes back down now because I'm just don't have high conviction in this push. I thought it would be kind of like a grab and then let's get out of here. But it's not. At least so far. I thought that stabbing back down to this would provide a little bit more relief. We did get our closure. Not exactly clean. This is just chopping around. I liked this in the low 50s. I don't like how we swept and failed that, right? So I like the 90s. I like the idea. But very, very unclear. And we're inside of this chop fest in the middle of the range. And it's getting me on both sides, so. That's a really good response. 2 bullish candles. It did take my break even there off of the push back down. My lack of conviction in the move. And now it looks like we might just get exactly that. And if it runs the high, then so be it. I'm probably done for the day, I think, because I wouldn't have a lot of conviction in the short side once we hit the 90s. And probably just going to walk with a red day, I think. Like the 720s, didn't have a lot of conviction in how violent this was, even with the flip. That would have been the 100 points and done for the day. Cool. And now this looks like it just wants to run. Yep, frustrating, but that is what it is. Usually I would recommend 50K. 50K counts. Those are kind of the bread and butter that I have. I think 50K counts across the prop world are good. They there goes the 80s. Man. Yeah, 50K counts across prop world. You get the best drawdown for your or the best for your drawdown, I think. Yeah. Into the 90s. Not really high conviction short area. This was the area I wanted. Initially, we finally took that high. Now we see what goes on. We very well could get the drop to come out of here. But I think that the lethargic movement that occurred, which is now unwinding, you've only got one swing. We probably continue higher, would be my guess. But we'll see. I'm going to call this stream here and get ready for my presentation. Caution on longs now. This very well could be the end of it, but we'll see. All right, you guys take it easy, trade safe. Not the cleanest day at all. And we'll chat with you guys later on and tomorrow. Bye, 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 bye. Yes, it will be on YouTube. I'll post a link in the Discord for those that haven't. It's going to be entirely around psychology, so there's not going to be much trading in there.